What's up, interwebs? I'm Tim Green. This is my writing channel, and you are listening to Skyler Grant, my only novel I've ever written by pacing it and finishing it. And this is it. And you're going to hear a very first draft version of the story, which will be read to you by my buddy Adam Daley of ZOP Gaming.
Hey everybody!
This is his first time as a narrator, so he's not an actual traditional narrator.
No, I try to do it in one take.
No, you don't try, you just do it in one take.
It's because they call me One Take Daily.
No, they don't. No one calls you that. So what will happen here is Adam is going to read a chapter, and then afterwards we'll discuss that chapter. As each episode goes on, when more episodes come on and more chapters, we'll have more to talk about as the story progresses. I'm basically trying to remember what happened, so this is going to be a refresher for me. And I'll talk about what I remember writing this, and maybe changes in everything I would make now if I was to rewrite it. So, with that said, before we get to the reading, if you go on to like this show, why not smash that like button, not push it. Smash that like button as a prayer to the holy algorithm. And, subscribe because awesome running content. With that all out of the way, let's get to the reading.
Skyler Grant. Written by Tim Green. Narrated by Adam Daley. Chapter 3. 1 week ago. You're not focusing, said the olive-skinned man, walking around Skyler, who sat on a hard wood floors, cross-legged, with his hand placed on his knees, his back straight, his shoulders back, and his eyes closed. I am not sure how you think you're going to unlock your abilities if you don't focus. If you would stop moving and distracting me, then maybe I will be able to focus, said Skyler, opening his eyes as he turned to face the olive-skinned man. The moment Skyler turned, he saw it coming. Skyler reacted. He dropped his head as the olive-skinned man's foot soared over his head. He felt the breeze move through his hair. He had just moved his head in time, or he would have woken up with a bad headache. His mentor was not holding back. The moment the kick was past his head, Skyler planted his right hand against the hardwood floor, locking his arm, cartwheeling up to his feet, using his legs to force the olive-skinned man back. Skyler's feet touched and came the next attack, a punch. Skyler turned his body to the left, popping his left hand across his body, knocking the arm of his mentor's arm further away. Skyler followed up, turning his body, came around with a spinning back fist to the back of the olive-skin's head. But he ducked the fast-moving fists, stepping and kicking out of Skyler's left leg out from underneath him. Skyler fell back, but quickly arched his back, planting his right hand, catching himself. Using the momentum, he followed through, landing on his feet. With his feet hitting the floor, he continued with the force he had going and continued threw his right knee up as olive-skinned man came in for another attack. In mid-attack, he turned his incoming kick into a sidewards knee of his own. The two collided, nailing Skyler in the chin. Ah! Shouted Skyler, dropping his leg down, only for his mentor to bring the blade of his foot, racking it down the face of the bone. Pain soared through body, causing him to flinch. Skyler jumped, bringing around his left leg around for a kick to the head of the olive-skinned man. With lightning-fast reflexes, slammed his right forearm up, blocking the kick. Skyler brought his leg back, quickly changing fighting position to protect his hurt right leg. Skyler only switched position as his master was on him. He brought in another punch to his chest. He slammed his left palm into his forearm, knocking away from his chest, and grabbed it with his left hand and pulled him in. But as Skyler's mentor came in, he kicked out his left leg, spinning him as he lost his balance. The force of the moments left Skyler completely off the ground. He brought his right leg back, slamming it into between the shoulder blades of the olive-skinned man, sending him crashing onto the wooden floor. Skyler landed on his right leg, but his speed was too great and kept going towards the floor. Skyler hit the floor, slamming the ground with his palm on his side. He brought his down, rolled back onto his back. The moment his other shoulder blade touched the floor, he brought his knees to his chest. throw them out, kicked to his feet, landing, going instantly into fighting stance. His mentor had gotten back to his feet. The two stared into each other's eyes when a slight ring came from the far end of the dojo. Skyler turned, surprised by the ring he was hearing. He didn't even see the attack as he turned only to fly to the floor, slamming his back into the wooden floor with a loud bang. The olive-skinned man had once again taken out his legs without a sweep. Skyler slapped the ground to absorb the force through his body instead of his back. Before he could move, his master stepped, putting his foot to his throat. "I yield," said Skyler, looking up his mentor. "You got me, Jing." "You could have won this spar," said Jing, pulling Skyler to his feet. "If you hadn't lost focus when you heard..." "Hey, are you even listening to me?" Skyler, once on his feet, jetted across the dojo over to a black school backpack, where the ring was still coming. He pulled out a dark blue cell phone. On the screen, the name Isis Allen on it. Skyler quickly flipped the phone open and placed up to his ear. "Isis?" asked Skyler with concerned look on his face. "Skyler," said a girl's voice on the other end. "I can't believe you picked up." "Isis, oh my God," said Skyler with tears forming in his eyes. One even rolled down his cheek. "How is this? I thought you were dead. I can't tell you how much I have missed you." "Skyler, I've missed you so much. Can't do this. They have me. They kidnapped me." "What? Who? Who kidnapped? Why did they kidnap you?" "I'm not sure who they are, but they are doing all kinds of experiments on me and a bunch of other kids. I managed to skip, and you were the only number I could think of. You need to help us?" "Okay, just tell me where you are." "I am somewhere in North Carolina. I am not sure, Skyler. Detective Daniels. He works for them. He's the one who kidnapped me." "What?" There she is, a faint voice in the back. "Skyler, they found me." "Run!" "Let go of me," screamed Isis. "Isis! Skyler, help me!" Click. "Isis!" A loud tone of a dead line rung through the phone. Skyler held tight to his cell, not believing that this just happened. Tears streamed down his cheeks. "Isis!" shouted Skyler. Skyler shut his eyes as he began to weep, water pouring down his face. Still holding his phone, hoping maybe Isis got away, but knowing more than likely whoever had her, whoever was doing those experiments, had once again caught their experiment. Skyler felt a light touch on his back. Jing had joined him and placed his arm around him. He felt him take his phone and pulled it from his hand. Several minutes went by. Skyler began to stop crying. He stood up with his head to his chest. "It's all right." "No, it's not." Skyler shot his head up, flung open his eyes. They were different. His brown eyes transformed to bright, all white, with a faint glow coming from them. The dojo began to shake. Loud thuds and bangs could be heard in the back as different items fell from the shaking building. A loud crash bellowed through the open dojo as the front door shattered. Sparks shot from the lights above as they began to fall, snapping the electrical cords. "Skyler!" shouted Jing, getting to his feet after falling once the building had begun to move. "You need to stop! Come back!" The building continued to shake, but it was not just the building. Outside, the telephone lines and lights fell, snapping power lines, landing and smashing cars below them. Several car alarms could be heard barely above the roar of the shaking ground. This continued for a few minutes, when it came to a sudden stop. Skyler snapped back to reality. His eyes returned to normal. The moment they were back to normal, the earthquake stopped. A moment passed before Skyler fully returned to normal. He snapped back, surprised what was around him. Fallen lights and glass littered the dojo floor. Spars rained down from the lights that fell. Skyler couldn't believe what happened. He stared out the broken front window to see the street lined with down lights and telephone poles and lines. The last few minutes were a blank. Nothing happened, he remembered. What happened? Asked Skyler as he turned to face Jing. You, Jing responded. What? You did it. Did what? You unlocked your abilities. What? This is what I've been telling you. These abilities are no joke. It is why the people behind your girlfriend's disappearance are gathering them. They want these abilities under their control. I see. Skyler turned, bent down, grabbed his bag, zipped it up, stood up, threw it over his shoulder, walked over, took his phone from Jing, slipped it into his pocket, turned, headed for the entrance. Where do you think you're going? Just because you unlock these abilities, you can use them whenever you are wrong. You need to learn how to use them. Skyler stopped as he paused for a few minutes, then turned to face Jing. Show me, but has to be something I can do whenever. There I so much. It takes a long time to learn how to master these abilities. You have a week to teach me the basics and show me anything else I can do once I leave. If that is along I can keep you, then I will do my best. Just one question. What are you going to do once you leave? Home, said Skyler, dropping his bag. You have 1 week. Let's not waste any of it.
Okay, so Adam.
Yes?
What did you think of this chapter?
It's a chapter.
Yes, it is.
Give me the manuscript for a second.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I read it for me.
Yeah, it'll be better once you're actually reading it live. Because,
this is the interrogation room scene.
Yeah. Hey, Adam, just a quick question. Did you ever lose yourself and what was happening
in the moment?
In the moment? Yeah, in the moment. Not while reading, because you clearly can tell exactly where they are, right?
No, you cannot. There are times where the door to the inside is on the left-hand side of the room. It's on the same side. It's on the same wall as the. It's on the opposite wall from the
escape point of the mirror.
No, of the mirror at one point. Then it's on the opposite side of the wall from the one that he blows out to leave.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this in the first. I said this in the first chapter, but I didn't say it for this one. I pantsed this novel.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only novel I've ever pantsed and completed. So, yeah, no preparation. I had some ideas for things going into this, but clearly, if you don't know, I'm very much, in my writing for my outlinings, I'm a map person. Like, I map out every location so I know where things are ahead of time. This is clearly, I did not do that. Apparently I saw it in my head, but it did not translate it to the page. Because, wow. And Adam, in the last chapter, we talked about the sass that Skyler gave to some officers. It's even worse here.
It is so, like, this is, I love the fact that I get to complain about my bros writing. Tim, I've probably never said this. I love you as a human being. And I'm going to be glad when we're done with this.
Yeah, I think we're both going to be glad when we're done with this.
But at the same time, I want to read this better.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy the idea of this story.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea.
It's just, Skyler goes from being, like, first of all, Skyler is the coolest 14-year-old ever. And I've never figured out how he gets from place to place so well for being 14 and not having any money.
That's true. You'll figure that out in chapter 4 or 5. I believe is when you'll find what he's talking about. So we'll save it for that. But yeah. I don't think I ever took that into consideration whatsoever. I'm pretty sure at one point he goes from 14. I think he gets upgraded to maybe 16.
Okay.
Hillary, who is the mother's name,
it still doesn't make sense why he, even at 16.
Oh no, I didn't take into account. It's because it's so like scene by scene and
like,
non-linear.
I just love the fact that your characters.
Yeah.
It's obviously a small town.
Yes.
Which means that it's not a very rich town.
No. Well, it's based on the town is based on my hometown, Oneonta,
Okay.
which is the biggest, and I'm putting this in air quotes because you can't see me, city between Albany, New York, and Binghamton. We get 4 exits on the interstate.
Whoo!
Yeah.
So
The only other one that has more than one exit on the interstate is Coblerskill. They get 2. We get 4.
like for me that is a very large small town because you haven't reached the 100,000 mark.
No. We're under 10,000 when
Holy crap!
when the two colleges that we have in the town.
You're a college town.
Yeah, we're a college town. When they're not there, we drop below 10,000. The city of Oneonta. No, I'm not talking about the town of Oneonta, because you got the city and you got the town of Oneonta.
I'm sorry, they're the same thing.
No, there's actually a difference. The outskirts. So basically, the city has 2 exits on the interstate. The town has 2 as well. Basically, how it works out when it comes to the interstate.
Does the town surround the city?
Yes. There's actually a town and city limits.
Oh, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. But,
What's the tallest building? How many stories?
Probably 5 to 6 downtown.
Yeah, that's not a city.
Oh, I know. But it's called the city of Oneonta. And yes, the people
A city has at least a building with 10 stories.
People who live there do absolutely think we live in a city.
Of course they do.
And it's like, I lived in the town. I grew up in the town, but I always went into I'm like, we're not a real true city. True city is New York.
Yeah.
Albany doesn't even
Albany kind of classifies.
Albany's a city, but when you look at it, it does not look like what a modern people think of a city.
Boston.
Rochester has more of a look of an actual city.
Rochester's
than
a
Albany
city. New York is a city, of course.
Albany's technically a city by definition
Hartford.
of population, not by visuals.
Hartford's a city.
The town is based on that. Actually, the rest scene from chapter 1, I should have brought this in that one, is actually the overlook I used as an example. I had this scene back in high school when I skipped in 9th grade, and I was overlooking a bridge down into a park. I just changed the location.
Yeah.
It's not a park. And everything. And I was looking down at that. That's where I got that scene from. I actually had.
So
that.
he's a small town boy.
Yeah.
Who somehow he and his friends are able to travel the world without a job and no vehicles.
Not necessarily the
I'm
world.
just kidding. They went throughout the universe. They pulled a Fast 9 and went to space.
Yeah, so
actually, I would believe that with this story.
But yeah, it's based on Oneonta, but you don't really see much of Red New York, or Reading, New York, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, I don't remember
as much, because you get pieces, but you don't really actually. I don't think we're ever downtown, but focusing back on the detective scene. This is the interrogation scene.
It's not a good interrogation.
No,
first of all, the Detective Daniels loses control of it immediately.
We label it as an interrogation scene. It's more of a, hey, you're coming in to interrogate me. It's a trap for me to reveal I know something about you.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, I have superpowers.
Yeah.
Were you expecting that when that happened?
Surprisingly, yes.
And actually, I think I did tell you about that.
Well, also for the fact that Skyler, for somebody who is in the interrogation room, arrested for murder.
Yep.
Which is really funny because there's no body, so they wouldn't have actually arrested him for murder. He would have been a suspect in a missing persons case. But
again, for conveniences, like you see even on TV,
he's wanted for murder.
You'll put murder out there just to make it sounds better.
Yeah.
Even though technically, if you got technical, it's missing persons.
Yeah. I love picking it apart. I love adding absolute realism two things that I read and listen to.
Cool. So how about you talk about where the interrogation
Oh my
room would
God.
be?
So the interrogation room would have been, all four walls would have been interior walls of the building.
Yes, they would not be.
Nothing would have been had an exterior building wall.
Unless they're in such a small town where they don't
Right.
They have no choice.
Basically, they're in a double wide trailer.
Yeah. But basically, again, it's the story of conveniences.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I could have easily just said, oh, if I knew that at the time, I could say, okay, he just makes a hole and have someone, like, eating lunch in their office, and then this hole appears, and he just blasts the hole to the next one, or goes out the window right there.
What
or
the
something like
hell?
that. But it just seemed more interesting if I remember the scene.
It's a very comic booky way of him showing off his powers.
Yes. Also, by the way, you don't get this in any way, shape, or form. Maybe you do. I can't remember. I didn't read how he does this. But when he does the energy blast, he is absolutely supposed to be doing the Kamehameha wave from Dragon Ball Z.
Nope, he does not get that.
No, that's why it was in my head, but I didn't think I actually wrote it that way. I think I was too worried about, because I was publishing this on my blog at the time, that to referencing Dragon Ball Z and dealing with copyright or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Though it would have been fine because I'm just referencing it. Of course, and if anyone who was a Dragon Ball Z fan at that kid and had learned how to use energy like that, they would absolutely be doing the Kamehameha wave. They'd be like ah, man.
Yeah, but for me, the way that I saw him going full, like his power, like fully using his powers, the telekinesis.
Yep.
For me, he was Darth Vader at that moment.
Yeah.
He was just like slam, 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 no, and you're just like, oh fuck.
See, one of the things
Which also totally
Yeah.
then makes me go, why the hell, if Detective Daniels had just been slammed around the interrogation room, the officer's trying to get in, cannot get in now, and why is Daniels talking as if he holds more cards right now? That dude should be like, oh, they're gonna come and get you. Even if you stop me, they still will come and get you. And he's like, I don't care. I want you to tell them that I'm coming. And you're like, okay, that's cool.
It should have been more like him laying down.
Yeah.
And him going like, oh, I'm not gonna kill you. You thought I was gonna kill you? No. I'm leaving you alive because I want you to let them know I'm coming for them.
Right.
And then leaving. But I wasn't thinking about that. Also,
but there's way too much of him giving exposition.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of being like, let them know that I'm coming for them, he immediately is like, let them know that I know that they have done this and this and this and this and this. And you're like, well, that's pretty much just everything. You're not holding anything to the chest at this point.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're like, I'm revealing a lot, so am I revealing too much? I basically, because it's a pantsing it, it was in my head, I have it here. In editing, it probably would have been refined more like, oh no, this would be better. Daniels is beat up, you give the message, and then boom to the wall, and you're gone. And everything. But I will say this, I'm going to pat myself on the back, because I didn't think I realized that I did this until I read it, preparing for this episode, was that I actually did take into account that as soon as the fight broke out, other cops who were behind the glass that got booted would have heard that and tried to get into the room. So I'm glad I actually did remember that, and I said, nope, this is a private conversation.
Yes.
But yeah. So
of course they're going to try to come sweeping into the room.
The fact that they didn't decide to think about the cops going, oh, we can't go through. Oh, did he just go through the mirror? Let's go back into that room that we were just
We're going to come through the mirror now.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not doing that either.
But, yeah, so if you think you lost your place here, I can only imagine what you're going to say about the teleportation fight scene in the dojo later on.
Oh, that's going to be great.
I have a feeling.
I'm going to be like, are they outside now?
No, I don't think they ever go outside, but I think you're going to lose your place where she is, because it's not even Zach. I mean, not Zach. Skyler. It's a different character you will meet in a few chapters.
Oh.
I think chapter 4 or 5 we'll meet her.
Good.
But overall, based on the first 2 chapters, Adam, what do you think of the story so far? Let me ask you this
I
way.
like the idea of it right now.
You're interested.
I am. I both think you give away too much information and not enough information.
You're kind of guys like,
Like,
wait.
I'll be honest, this isn't 2 chapters.
No.
This is the first part of 1 chapter.
Oh, yeah. But, because I was going for shorter chapters at the time, I believe, if I remember correctly. Anyway, but, like, but the question that I'm raising here, like, how much information I'm giving away here, you're kind of going, like, how much, okay, so if he's giving this much information in this, how much is he giving away too much? Is he gonna drag?
Yeah.
Or is he? No, because remember, I pants this. I had no clue where I was going. I just make stuff up. I can't. Adam, we're going to have you do this because I won't be able to do it.
Okay.
Is to keep track of lost plot threads that I never wrap up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You haven't lost one yet.
No, because we're still in this. It's going to be more like in the mid. You're going to have to start paying attention to all
Be
these
like,
plot
hey,
threads.
wait a second. What happened to so-and-so? Hey, by the way, that reminds me. What happened to Hillary?
Yeah.
Chapter 2, we don't even mention her. She's still waiting out front.
No, she was mentioned. It's mentioned Mrs. Stone or whatever was brought in.
Oh, yes.
She was referenced. Again, you don't see her ever again. As far as I remember, where she never appears actually in person. Maybe reference
Miss Allen.
Miss Allen.
By the way.
Again, her daughter's name, which is Isis.
So she's a single mom.
Doesn't. Because I spelled it with MS.
Yep.
Yep. I don't know if I ever mentioned her father, Hillary's father.
Exactly.
Isis's father. 'Cause, by the way, again, I mentioned this in the last chapter thing. Isis is his girlfriend's name. By the end of it, I'm almost certain.
She becomes Hillary.
Her name becomes Hillary. Because I
Yep.
probably forgot the name, and somewhere in my notes I changed. I didn't like Isis anymore. I wanted Hillary. And
dude, not only does she become Hillary, but they also have a different last name.
oh, really?
Yes.
Okay,
it's not Allen anymore.
Yeah, isn't it White?
No, it does become White for a second.
And then
you're gonna love that, and then it changes again. And I'm not gonna tell you what the third one is.
Okay.
But yeah, it yep.
But yeah, I can't. This is gonna be so much fun. So this is only the second chapter of 46. We said overall, including the epilogue.
By the way, he doesn't. All we get left with is he blasts a hole in the wall. Those officers have been knocked down. There are still other officers in the building, and he's like, "Peace."
Yeah.
How did he get away? Did he just walk? He was like, "Nah, I'm out of here."
Well, he does have telekinesis, so he could have just flown, lifted himself up in his...
Yes, but you can't go that fast.
You can go faster. But the question is, how many of those cops do you think are going to want to go after him after they saw him blast a fucking hole in the wall with energy?
You know there is at least one that stood out in the back and loaded 3 clips into his pistol and just kept shooting.
As he just kept shooting and the bullets just kept reflecting off as Skyler just walked by.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, he looks like, really? You're seeing these...
Pow, 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 pow.
And you're
Pow, 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 pow.
See, actually,
Pow, 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 pow,
that's
pow.
how I should have ended it.
Yes.
It's like he goes out there and the cops are like, on the ground. And he's like, no. And
Blue
he's
shimmer goes around Skyler and it blocks. It like not just blocks. They don't reflect off because he understands he doesn't actually want to have a ricochet hurt anyone. And they just kind of stop and fall to the ground.
No. He's
like Superman.
He's walking and it's like he sees the cop. He's like he's walking and he's like on the ground. I saw them. Starts firing and it's just like no glow. It just like just again stops right there. And he's like grabs it, reloads, and he's like I said on the ground. It's like
oh yeah, because
he answers another clip and he's like he reloads a third time. And he's like, you just shot me with 2 clips. They're right here, and you're gonna try to shoot me again, thinking something's gonna change.
That would be great.
And then he just swipes the hand. The gun goes flying. He goes flying because he won't let go of the gun. And he just walks off. The bullets just drop, and that's the end. That's how.
That would be a great second draft.
Yeah, I think I remember. It's like a lot of these chapters or scenes end on a bam,
Oh yeah,
It's like the kind of like Cliff. I was going for that thriller type
Kind
approach.
of.
And again, where you don't get you go there, but then you don't get some of those nice little wrap ups. But yeah, this is only the second chapter. Some of the stuff I remember. Wait until Adam, the chapter 4. Go to chapter 4. What is it? How does it start? Really quickly. Just read it. Don't read it out loud.
Okay.
Just give me and just tell me. Does it talk about the people in the woods?
Nope. This is the detective and at the hospital.
Okay, so it's chapter 5 then. Wait until we get to chapter 5.
Oh yeah.
Those. I was gonna have fun with that one. Asking me questions about that one. I can.
Oh,
tell.
that was interesting.
And that scene should have been. I should have written a lot more authentic because I actually know. This was after I was in the military.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't get past tech school.
But still.
Also, it was Air Force. But still, I should have known. I had actual first-hand experience in a sense. I should have known better.
I could have.
I
know a professional that would let you know how that operation would work.
You mean the guy who lives upstairs with the big fro?
Quite possibly.
The guy upstairs with the big flow and the giant semi-automatic gun.
It's not giant.
Okay,
it's the proper size.
The proper size. No.
What?
But yeah,
actually, it's just a shotgun.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a semi-automatic.
Nope.
Okay, it's just a shotgun. Okay. Well, anyway, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could tell.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to wrap this one up here because we got through what we really want to talk about. I'm surprised you didn't harp more on not knowing where things were at the time.
Look, I can only do it so much. I mean, I love the fact that it's a one scene, one spot scene.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it works really well, but as a chapter, you don't really have the through story of the chapter in there.
Yeah. And that, because it's kind of like, if anything, the best way to have done it is this to be part of chapter 1.
Right.
And this is how you end chapter 2.
Yeah.
You chapter 1.
You end the first part of chapter 1 with him being arrested. Now we're picking up with him inside the interrogation room. Then we can move on to another spot after this.
Yeah.
And end that first chapter with its arc.
Yeah. But it was more of a, okay, wait, why is he being arrested? Like, that's one of the things like you're going, like, right, so, okay, we're in chapter, okay, we gotta go to chapter 2 immediately. But yeah, it's again, pantsing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you go with what you got, and you're like, okay.
Hey.
But we'll wrap this up. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying this podcast, comment down below, let us know what you think of it. Tell me how bad this writing is, because yes, it's a first draft. It's horrible. It's only gonna get worse. I can promise you that. So much worse. And we're gonna have fun laughing at me because, well, it was me pantsing and I'm not a pantser. I am definitely an outliner. But also, if you enjoyed this, why don't you go and hit that thumbs up? It does help support this channel. It's free. It costs you nothing. If you enjoyed this content, I have other content on this channel. Writing advice, my journey as I'm approaching to start writing my debut novel in the novella series. Oh, wow. Anyway, so why don't you hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you get the notifications, all of that. Adam, say bye.
Bye.
You guys, I'm going to have 2 videos up on screen that you might want to check out. And I'll see you there. Thanks for listening. Bye.